Hey everybody, what's going on tonight? I was going to do a video here on the 2024 Husqvarna FE-501S. Got out finally on the first ride tonight for this and did the 1 hour break-in on it, got the oil changed, had to make sure everything was set up on it and adjusted, working right, and so far everything seems really good on it. Quite a bit to get used to going from riding sport bikes for the last 20 years. Totally different setup, obviously. So it's going to take a little bit of getting used to, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun once I can get this thing out into the desert, onto the trails. I just did the 1 hour break-in tonight on the surface streets on the pavement, just to get a feel for everything and make sure there's no issues at all. So far, so good. Got everything set how I want it. Had to tighten the chain up a little bit after I rode it, and then I adjusted the gear shift lever. I moved it up a little bit just for a better position with my boots. And just go over everything now on the build now that it's finally complete. And ended up putting new tires on it last couple weeks ago. I went with the Motaz Ralls tires. They're R-A-L-L-Z. These are a 70% for off-road riding and 30% for riding on the street, which I think it'll be about perfect for what I'm looking for. Since I got about an 8-mile ride from my house to get to the trailhead to go out to the desert. And the setup on these tires, which were really fun to change. It's been so long since I've changed a dirt bike tire, but I got a tire changer, and that made things a lot easier. I did a nitro mousse in the rear tire just to see how that'll work. They don't recommend going over 70 miles an hour with them, and technically it says they're not made to ride streets, but I've read where people still ride the pavement with them here and there. They don't have any issues as long as you don't overheat the tire or the tire mousse on it. I put plenty of the lube on it that they say to use inside the tire and on the tire mousse, so see how that lasts and how long it'll be good for. And then the front wheel, or the front tire, I just ended up running a heavy-duty tube in that, and then also front and rear, I'm running the Tusk alloy rim locks as well. Then I did balance the wheels front and rear too, just so riding on the street I wouldn't get many vibrations or anything. And rode really good, except when you get on it quite a bit, it gets a little squirrely. And up here in the cockpit, I am running a Garmin Tread GPS, which is an off-road type GPS. So this has all the trails in here for all the like Tonto National Forests and everywhere I can ride off-road here, which is going to be awesome because I don't know if I'll have cell service a lot of these places I'm going to go. And got a nice custom bracket for this that replaces, I have the Mako 360 bar mounts on here to help with the vibration. So it's a custom bracket from Takomoto that goes on here, and then the GPS mount underneath that goes on top of the bracket. So it's perfect fitment right on top. And the Mako 360, when I was riding tonight, I did notice there's absolutely no vibrations or anything in the handlebars or the grips. All good there. There is some vibrations though coming through the foot pegs, which didn't really bother me and get used to it. I'm just glad there's nothing in the handlebars or the grips, because I think that would be a problem, but really good. I got the ODI Rogue grips on it. And then for the throttle cam, I replaced the OEM, the gray cam. I went with the black one, which is a pretty much quicker throttle turn on it. Throttle is pretty touchy on this. Took a little bit to get used to throttle control, and it's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. And also I replaced the OEM kill switch and start switch from, this is the bomber switch from Moto Minded. Much nicer, a lot better setup. The OEM buttons are so small. With gloves on, it's almost hard to use them. These are much bigger, a lot easier they stick out more, a lot easier to use. So those are really nice to have. And I also did aftermarket clutch and brake levers. These are from Bulletproof Designs billet levers. So a little bit better quality than what were the OEM. And installed this windscreen here last night. This is from Baja Works. It's a small company out in California. I think the guy like makes them out of his house or something, but basically just have two metal brackets. I had to drill some holes. They mount into the mask here. And then got the screws here on the side. It does tilt back and forth, and then it slides up and down. So I have it about set in the middle. That's just nice to have for a little extra wind protection. Out here in Arizona, once the sun goes down now, it does get pretty chilly at night. I guess if I'm out riding later after the sun goes down, that does help with keep the wind off you a little bit. Headlight, I upgraded the OEM one. OEM wasn't bright at all. It was pretty much garbage. This is a Nacho LED. I think the max lumens on this on the bright setting is at like 7,500 lumens, but I went out tonight and pretty much out in the middle out of town where there's no light pollution or anything, and this thing it's really nice. It really lights up the road. It's super bright to see, which is really going to be nice. And it does have the aftermarket switches I'm running here that I had to use to run the aftermarket, the turn signals and daytime running lights up here, along with the aftermarket tail light and brake light that has the turn signals built into it. And I can completely turn it off. Right here on this setting, it's off, and then you have low beams and high beams, so that's nice. You can turn it off if you want to. Other things, I got a lot of the bulletproof billet protection front and rear for the rotors, calipers, pretty beefy stuff. And I ended up doing the Samco hoses on this, like the R6, nice blue hoses. Pretty simple to install, there's only 3 of them. Then I got the P3 Racing carbon guard for the pipe. Also running the Graves titanium slip-on exhaust. This thing's really nice. It's a little loud when you open it up, but it sounds pretty good. Have the seat concepts right here. It's the XL seat, so it's a bit wider back here, which is nice. It's got extra padding on it. The stock one was hard as a rock. It was bad. This one's so much better. And then ended up doing the Serbies oversized fuel tank on it. This is a 3.9 gallon tank. I think get about 200 miles out of it. So I think the OEM one was like 2.2 gallons. So this is much better. Just waiting on an upgraded fuel pump for these, because the fuel pump sits right on top, and then it doesn't even come near where these ears are on both sides, where you get all this extra fuel down here, and then it won't pick it up unless you're off road sloshing the tank around to get the fuel up into the pump. But there's supposed to be a modification coming from Takomoto to resolve that issue. I don't know when it's going to be out, but looking forward to that. And I did aftermarket mirrors here from Double Take. These are the 2.0 mirrors. So it's just pretty much right here to tighten it, and then you adjust it up here. Really simple to use, look a lot better than the OEM ones that were on here. And here's the rear, the bulletproof guards on it, and then the Acerbi swing arm guards. aftermarket foot pegs, and these things are sharp. They're from Mojo Motorsports. Got these screws in here. Pretty much keeps your boots on there planted pretty good. Let's see what else. Got a PC Racing filter skin on the twin air filter just to help with riding out here with all the dust and everything, kind of like a pre-filter that'll help filter out stuff before it gets into the air filter. So that blue color is the Maxima. It's a spray-on oil that you use for it. And then I also upgraded the fuel line and fuel filter. The stock one had this tiny little filter that went in this fitting that was in the line, and I don't know, it seemed like a garbage setup that it could get clogged easy. So I went to this other system here, and then the it's got a, it's hard to see it, but there's a aluminum fuel rail that goes in up there, the pin you can see it there, it's aluminum, where the OEM one was plastic. So it's better quality, better filter, bigger filter. And got the, what is it, the DID ERVT 520 chain. Pretty good high quality chain on it. And then I'm just running JT steel sprockets. OEM was aluminum on the rear. I don't really like aluminum. They go wear down too quick, so steel's the way to go on that. Stuck with stock gearing on it. It seemed pretty good for the street tonight when I was riding it. I'll have to wait and see how it is off-road, and maybe drop a tooth in the front or go up 2 in the rear and see how that is. Also got the Enduro Engineering slave cylinder guard here. So this whole piece goes over the slave cylinder to help if you have a chain snap or something that doesn't take out the slave cylinder. And then this other guard here that goes with it. So that's pretty nice in case there's any issues on that. And trying to think what else I did to it. Oh, with the I have the aftermarket ECU on this. It's the Athena Git ECU. It's made in Italy. So this is the switches here for the ECU. The top button is like the race map. The bottom button is like a B mode on it, like a less throttle percentage. I guess that opens this kind of like the R6 where you have the different maps. And then it also has traction control on it, which is pretty nice. I set it at about 6 out of 10. 10 is the highest, and getting on the throttle pretty hard tonight, going through the gears. I didn't have any wheel slip or anything like that. Kind of surprised with the knobbies on it on the pavement. And I think you can even get a quick shifter for these. You have to get the solenoid or the sensor or whatever for it and put it in the gear shift somewhere down there, but I'm not going to bother with that. As long as I have traction control, it'll be pretty good. And it also even has a launch control of this button over here. I think it's for launch control, which is kind of crazy. I guess if you're racing out of a gate or something, to have launch control would be nice to have, but it's something I don't really need at all. And the pretty much with the aftermarket ECU on this, I had it through Slavens Racing. They're in Colorado. They were able to pretty much preload or load the map onto the ECU for the modifications I have done to the bike. So pretty much for the Graves slip-on exhaust, I have the reeds removed out of the air box. It's all desmogged, everything like that. So it's already set up on there. I just had to set like the TPS. There's all this stuff to go through in the settings to set like the TPS for the throttle percentage so it knows how much fuel to give the bike and all that. But that's all pretty easy to set up. You can change the fans when to come on for the temperature and all that stuff. So there's just an app you go into to make all those changes, which is pretty nice, pretty easy to use. So yeah, I'm real happy with how this turned out. Everything seems good. And got the I think I only have 36 miles on it right now, but I did the first oil change on it. It says to do it at 1 hour, so I think it's like 1.1 hours. I ended up just using Honda, the GN4. It's this mineral oil 20W50. It calls for 1050, but I couldn't really find any 1050 in mineral oil, so I think this should be fine. So I'll run this through it for a couple hundred miles, maybe 300 miles or so, and then I'll probably switch to I have AMS oil for it, dirt bike oil, full synthetic 1050, just to run that through a little bit more, make sure it's good and broken in. Then I'll switch to the full synthetic on it. And as far as the braking on it, a lot of people just say to run it hard up and down through the gears, so that's pretty much what I did. I think redline on this is like 7,500 RPMs, but there's no gauge or anything. So a couple times I got up to where I hit the rev limiter on it. So I just ran it hard up and down through the gears, accelerating, engine braking, just up and down through the gears real good. And just to get those piston rings to seat in. So I think it seems to be pretty good. When I changed it, the magnet, this had the normal amount of metal shavings you'd expect to see. Nothing, no big chunks of anything, nothing crazy. So all that looked good. And the process to change the oil on these is it's quite a lot of stuff you have to do. So down here you have your oil drain bolt here. Then this one next to it is like this long tube. It's like a screen filter that you have to take out. And then here is the oil filter that is in there. And then on the bottom side, there's another bolt you have to take out. So you have to take all that stuff out. I clean the screen out, just clean everything out real good, let it drain, and then filled it back up with oil and all that. It took me, I don't know, maybe 2 hours, because it was like the first time I did it. So I want to make sure I did everything right and took my time. So it's pretty easy. It just time consuming with everything, all the steps you have to do on it. And then I also, I do have this Kriega. I'm not sure, it's Kriega. It's pretty much a saddle fender bag for it. I did have to put these mounts into the fender right here. They bolt through, so I took the fender off and then put these through, and then there's these hooks that go through these rubber straps, and then you just tighten it down. So this will be good for tool kit and snacks and whatever else. And then along with my hydration pack, that's got plenty of storage in it too. And I did get the sag set up on this on the rear. It was pretty easy. I used the Slacker V4 tool that I have, and I think the static sag on this, when I checked it, was at like 47 or 48 millimeters, and it was supposed to be at 40. So I did the spring here to do this. It's a plastic ring, and then you have this aluminum one on top. There's an Allen bolt there you have to loosen, back this off, and then use the wrench to turn that. And I think I had to go about 2 full turns to get that static sag down to 40. And then I have a weighted vest I like to use instead of putting all my gear on. It's a weighted vest that weighs about 20 pounds, and that's about, with all my gear on and tools and everything else, right around the extra weight. So I think the sag is supposed to be at 110 millimeters on this rider sag, and I'm like right on the money with that 20-pound weight vest, and then 2 turns extra on that spring. I think it says this bike set up, the springs on it, for 165 to 187 pound rider, and I think with everything I was around like 190 with all the gear, so pretty much right in spec. Seems pretty good. And oh yeah, I do have the seat concepts. Can't remember if I went over that yet, but seat concepts, aftermarket seats, a XL, so it gets a little bit wider back here, which is nice, so you can move back. There's a lot of extra padding. It's thicker than the OEM one. The OEM one was hard as a rock, so this is pretty nice to have. And I think that's about it. Not really much else. And yeah, I guess if you guys have any questions questions, go ahead and let me know.